as we might know, is India's pioneering trend forecasting initiative. It is one that was launched after the clarion call given by our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, and we started this in about 2021, and we have 850 plus trained trend spotters. We get data across India, and with our indigenous artificial intelligence model, we curate this information and we predict trends. So we don't just predict micro trends, I mean we predict trends across various time spans, that is micro, mega and macro. And these trends are relevant across, let's say, periods of 3 months, 6 months and a year and sometimes even 2 years respectively. So moving ahead, this is a bit about our credential. This is our reach. We have a significant social media presence. We have been published in Times of India. We've been published in India Today, and multiple media platforms across digital media. And yes, moving ahead, this is a trend validation chart that we have in front of us. This is basically to help you understand what the work we do and how we corroborate how the work we do actually materializes in real time in terms of, let's say, observations in the industry, observations in consumer patterns, observations in terms of what people want. Just a minute. Yes. So moving ahead, we'll be talking about today's webinar. So when we talk about fashion, fashion is not something that exists in isolation, which is one of the core principles or pillars of what we do here. So when we study fashion or when we study lifestyle products, we understand that there are many factors including culture, there are many factors including socio-psychology, politics, economics that factor in, and today we are looking specifically at music. So we're going to be looking at the cultural context of music, we are going to look at a few insights, and we're also understanding emerging proclivities and mindsets. We are going to understand what consumers want, the kinds of experiences that the newer generations are inclining toward, and how this shift is very paramount, not just for us to understand as psychologists or as trend forecasters, but as someone who wants to create for the future or someone who wants to stay very relevant. So before I begin, I would like to introduce Karun. So Karun is a DJ whose technical prowess is matched not only by the energy of his performances, but with his deep-rooted passion for house music. His skillful mixing and precision on the decks elevate the experience to new heights. Karun's set are a testament to his expertise, where every track is carefully chosen and seamlessly blended. He's cultivated a unique style that fuses classic house with cutting-edge sounds. And yeah, with that, hi Karun, I hope I did some justice with your introduction.
No, it was beautiful, trust me, it was beautiful. Again, like just to introduce myself again, I'm Karun Mahtani, so I'm a DJ and a producer who's based out of Bangalore right now. And yeah, man, first of all, before starting, I just want to thank VisioNxt for giving such a platform where artists can come talk about such important topics, which is like completely reshaping how India looks at music. And I feel that you guys are doing an amazing job where you guys are giving out opportunities for artists where they get the opportunity to speak about topics where they also feel that we are also being we're taken into account as well.
Yeah.
So that's like a beautiful platform to be in. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward.
Thank you so much, Karun. So before we begin, we do have a very broad overview of what we are observing here in music when we talk about alternative musical experiences. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think, or how do you think musical influences today are shaping cultural identity?
I feel that music has always been shaping the cultural activities. It's always been going around the world. Uh, For example, let's say that the West loves electronic music and that's what they're all about. But then you see, like in Africa, there's like a lot of tribal sounds what people kind of listen to in their space. But now you kind of collide that and just join forces with it. Now people get the best of both worlds. One is that they get a lot of influence from Africa, like let's say all the tribal sounds and all the drums and all of that good stuff and also a bit of from the West, which is like electronic house music, and then we collide them, and then we have something called Afro music. Now people get to taste Afro as well as house, and I feel that is like a big bit, and people, and again like us, we're not even from those continents. Again, like we're not from the West, but see now we get to experience what the culture of Africa looks like as well as what the West is currently going on about. And I feel that's a beautiful way, and like I've told you, it has always been like from the start, just the way how we dress, just the way how we do things, and just the way how we feel about a certain thing. Always has been music has always been contributing to that, and that I feel is like a huge influence in our cultural bit as well.
Right. And like you said, I'm guessing we see a bit of an interaction with, let's say, not just the West and Africa, but also when that comes to India, we see how our culture kind of assimilates with their culture and we see something completely new, completely different being born.
100%, but I mean, like I feel that even like music, like what we listen to, like on a daily basis, let's say even from our local languages, I feel that's kind of become global now. I mean, we are like Indian language and Indian influences is becoming a global footprint, which is a big thing. Like you see, like there's like a lot of like Indian influence tracks, which is like out there in spinning record, which is one of the biggest records in the world. And I feel that's a big thing, you know what I mean? So people also get a taste of our culture as well, because like let's say there's something called the Marathi house if you didn't know. So that is kind of booming right now. Like all over the globe, people listen to it, and I feel that it kind of makes me proud as well because that's coming. The roots are from India, and then the whole world gets to listen to like what we do on a regular basis. Like from our culture, it's gone up to like a whole global footprint, which is like a big thing, man. Honestly, and yeah, that's how I see it. See, like again, we get to share a bit of our culture, and we get a taste of their culture, and that's the way we enhance and influence like what's going on. You know?
Right. So moving to our first sub narrative,
Yeah.
what we before moving to our first sub narrative, we see a lot of music relevant products coming up. We see a lot of memes around music, and we see a lot of vinyl purchases happening. I mean, vinyl was not that big a deal a bunch of, let's say, a year or two ago, and all of a sudden, vinyl just booms, and let's say Fujifilm booms, and there are like a lot of products that one would generally consider niche that see burgeoning demand, and like this kind of takes me to the question of how do you think, like, in what ways do you observe that the consumption of music has changed in our daily life?
So I would like put it across like let's say the Gen X, which is like the 80s or the like 70s kids. So they were like more prone towards like listening to albums and like full structured songs. After that came the millennials, where they like, you know what, they were into albums and stuff like that, but they were not like completely into it. But then came Gen Z. So Gen Z, it's like it's a different ballgame altogether. So we, especially how we interact with music and how we go about it, basically we are like the TikTok generation, where it's like we only know that snippet of one track.
Right.
Since like our attention span is completely it's ruined, we do not like have the patience to sit and actually listen to music. You get what I mean? Like how the Gen X and the millennials were doing it, we don't have the patience for it. And since like I feel like music has become a commodity where it's easily available. So before back in the days, like people would have to go to like record shops and actually physically buy the record. You know what I mean? And records were not easily available. I mean, there were only like limited stocks to it. But now it's like the world is moving towards like streaming sessions where people do not need like a physical CD or like a physical file to actually listen to music. So I feel that it's easily available, and there's just it's a lot of music out there, and people particularly don't especially Gen Z. We don't really look for anything like in it. You know what I mean? It's like 100% like for Gen Z, it's like a part of our personality. Music has always been a part of our personality. But again, we are not the kind of listeners like how the Gen X and the millennials were. We just look into like the catchy snippets, and then we just we revolve around that. And that's how we look into music.
Right, it's a bit of no thought, just vibe situation.
100%, man, 100%. Yeah. Especially me being a DJ, I'll tell you what. So when I play, usually like when I play, especially when I'm playing for Gen Z crowd, it's only the chorus what I play. So you get what I mean. So it's I'll hardly play a track for like 40 seconds, man. That's it. And if I play more than that, people will be like, "What is this guy doing?" I mean, I feel the song shouldn't be this long, and that's the kind of and that's the kind of mindset what the flow's got. And I feel that. See, look, it is like a good thing, you know what I mean? Like having a lot of songs going on and then just that switch here and there. But sometimes I feel that Gen Z kind of have to slow down, and then just listen to the track like as a whole, just see what's actually going on in the track. Just like other than just a snippet or like which is famous in TikTok or anything on that track. So yeah, man, especially like the way we interact with music is completely different from how the Gen X or the millennials were doing.
Actually, yeah, this does make a lot of sense because, like, I've had certain club experiences where initially they begin playing a track, and once you get to the chorus, the rest of the song kind of seems very irrelevant. And we are like, all right, next track, and then everyone has a lot of excitement right at the beginning of the track, right at the chorus,
and then it dies off.
And then it dies off at the chorus. So that is a very spot-on observation. That you mentioned.
I mean, like even producers who like make tracks these days, they don't really make a bridge like where it kind of builds up to the main drop. Nobody does that anymore. It's just an abrupt a bridge just coming into the track. You know what I mean? And which is like I get it, man. People don't have the tension or like the patience to actually sit and listen to the whole track. I mean, if that's what the Gen Z is looking for, I feel that it kind of justifies that the producers are delivering that.
So you're saying not only is like this is affecting the length of music, yes, but it's also affecting the way in which you structure music.
100%.
So the bridge is almost altogether eliminated.
Yeah, completely. If you're lucky, you might have one bridge in the track. Usually it's like 2-3, but then now it's like 2-3 chorus. If you're lucky, you'll probably have like one bridge. That's about it.
Interesting. Also, okay, moving forward. So this is our first narrative where we observe, there's also an image of you right here, playing your set in a toilet, which is very interesting, in a lavatory, which is a very interesting setting. But we did observe a lot of very alternative, a lot of very different, a lot of very unconventional camp spaces becoming a hub for music. These are not spaces where one would conventionally find music or one would conventionally look at or think about a rave, but this is something that we have observed significantly. So my question is, how many non-traditional venues have you played at, and how has your experience playing at those venues been different from a club?
Okay, so let me answer the first question. Is that I played in a coffee shop. So again, like there's an IP in Chennai which is called Funkin' Around, and they did a show in a tattoo parlor. So I played in a tattoo parlor again. And again, a functioning toilet where people actually use this toilet. It's like people actually use it. Yeah, it's not like it's not a problem. People actually use it. Like it's a cafe, and then in this cafe, it's the only toilet.
Okay, so you're playing as people are using the toilet?
No, not really. I mean, like it's just like only that bit's recorded. But we did it was like an early morning session where like there was nobody there. But like just to like give you a glimpse, it is a functioning toilet.
Okay, interesting,
So
interesting.
again, like a coffee shop, yeah. And then I've played in a tattoo parlor, washroom, yes. And then I've played in a kitchen where people are actually cooking in the side, and then I'm just doing my music bit in there. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right,
like let's say the stubs over here, I'll be performing in this end. So it's like
right.
a back and forth thing which she's doing. And then yeah, man, I played in like a repurposed space where it's a French birthday party, but it was completely repurposed. It was like a proper festival. Like we completely redid the place, and then it was a beautiful vibe. And then yeah, these are the few places which are like which is like completely unconventional, and then which is completely off a club. Like you're not sticking to a club; it's completely off of. Yeah, these are the places I've played.
And how has your experience been different from, let's say, a conventional club when you play in such spaces?
I'll tell you what, honestly, the experience was raw. It was extremely raw, unpredictable, and then it was almost like it feels very intimate, like you know what I mean? Like everybody is around you and then you really feel the crowd. You're like, you know what, because like in a club it's going to be structured, you know what's going to happen. But in an environment like this, it's completely even you don't know what's going to happen because especially even as a DJ, like for a crowd of that setting, it's hard for me to like kind of understand what the crowd wants and kind of play. So it's very unpredictable. I really can't like come to a notion and give you like a structured answer to it. But it's extremely raw and also very intimate. Like you really feel the connection with the audience, where it's like it's damn personal. You know what I mean? Where because at least in a club, let's say, you don't get to like take requests and stuff. But over
Right,
here, people they get to like you just get to play what you feel like. You know what I mean? And that is
right,
like that's one big thing for artists because they get to play what they like and they don't have to stick to any kind of rules or any kind of genre limitations or anything of that sort. And then they are also free to take requests, which is like a good thing. And also the crowd enjoys when you take requests because the crowd kind of because everybody's got preference in the dance. And when you take those the picky ones and you'll be like, yeah, I know what I'll play this, I know what I'll play that. That kind of gives them a feeling of, like you feel intimately like, yeah, man. The DJ is well connected with the audience and the groove is really nice. So I think
right.
that's one of the best experiences, like what I've had with like unconventional places. At least it's too good. And honestly, but if you ask me, more than like a club setting, playing in such venues is a whole nother ball game. Trust me.
Interesting. So, what do you think is the future when it comes to like unconventional spaces, or why do you think these unconventional spaces have become prominent?
I mean, honestly, I feel that in the future, let's say if it's going to be the club shows or the unconventional places, it's likely going to be a mix. I can't just pick one thing that club's only going to be it or just unconventional places. It's going to be a mix of both. And I'll give you two reasons why though. So usually with the unconventional places, why it will really work is it has the freedom of being creative. You have the complete freedom to curate what you want, how you want, and the niche you want to create, the sounds you want to do, and the kind of crowd you want to do. You have the absolute freedom to, and which many promoters and many curators are looking forward to. They want to be creative on their platform, and
Right.
they just want to be themselves, just get out their creative brains and then just do funny stuff and different stuff. And
Right.
then the second thing why they actually do is that why I feel that unconventional places are really booming right now is because they give you a unique experience, which like no club is going to give you. Because it's all personalized and it's more of a community based gig than it's more of a community built show than like a commercial based one. You get what I mean? So I
Right.
feel that these two reasons are one of the reasons why I feel that unconventional places are going to be like the future. But there are downsides to it as well. One is scalability like usually you see a setting like this, it's always repurposed. It's not a place which is meant for partying or like having shows or having like events. It is like, for example, let's say you take a tattoo parlor. Do you think you can really party in a tattoo parlor?
Right. Right.
No, it's
One
look.
count. Yeah.
I mean, you can to an extent, but like
To
if
an
you want to
extent. Yeah.
give that like proper club feel where the consumers feel like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm actually in a club. No, I don't think they have the scale to do it. And the
Right.
second reason why I feel that it really can't survive in the long end because one is legal problems. The second thing is going to be the logistics, like how are we gonna like have the event going on, like how are we gonna get in everything, and also it's not profitable in the long run. You get what I mean? Because like you see all these unconventional places, all these IP built shows, it's always done on a small scale.
Right.
So like there is, I don't think there's much scope for profitability, at least when it comes to like like seeing a profit from what you're doing, and also like just thinking about like the legal terminology, like your noise complaints and like your safety measures, and taking all that into consideration, I don't see that unconventional places can like have a hold in the future, like dominating the club experience. You get what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, that's the catch with this. I mean, but I'll tell you what, unconventional places and IP built shows are becoming a thing in India.
Right. It's becoming more common, but at the same time, it's like dispersed in small pockets.
Yeah.
What I found very interesting, which takes me to the next sub direction that we found, is that you said that everyone on the dance floor has a request, and everyone has their own preference. So when we talk about, let's say, movement, and when we talk about, let's say, bass on board, we see a lot of democratization happening where not necessarily that the club is a designated space for party, whereas the party is something that goes to everyone irrespective of where they are. We see people in rickshaws and trucks, I mean, there's like in local trains, and then there is also another subcategory here where there is democratization. At the same time, we see like there is a bit of like a rift in terms of identity. Like you want to have music in movement, but then you want to have it in a yacht, and again, yacht is not an experience that everyone can have. So, like I want to ask you is, how do you think performing in motion changes the way you curate a set compared to, let's say, a traditional club or a traditional setting?
Like you said, like performing like an auto or like a yacht or probably like even in a parachute, because if you probably heard of this YouTube channel, it's called Circle, where they even did a set in the air, which is like
interesting.
Yeah, it was done in the air. So when it's done in motion, it's more of an entertainment than a structured performance. You get what I mean? It's more about music is just being a part of the atmosphere. You get what I mean?
Right.
So I wouldn't like see again like music can't be demanding too much of attention in such atmospheres or such environments, because music is just like an experience as a whole. You get what I mean? Because there's so much more going on when it comes to like performing in motion than in a structured performance where it's like done in a designated club or like place where it's static.
Right.
So I feel like there's a huge difference, but at least to me, at least to like how the world sees it, like performing in motion, it's more like an entertainment sort of thing. It's not like where you get to like really put in your creative moves or completely be there. You get what I mean? Or just give out a raw performance. But at least when it comes to like a club, I would say like when it's structured, when it's there, when it's static, people will be able to like deliver that raw performance to what people are looking for, and it's going to be completely focused on music when it comes to being on a static platform. But on emotion, it's more about just like being there, like indulging with people, just seeing what the scenario is like, the background, and all of that put together. It's more of an entertainment, and in that environment, music can't be demanding such a strong attention. You get what I mean?
It's more of a multi-sensorial experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like, how do I tell you? It's more like it's more like a background thing, music over there. But it's more about like how visualizing it is, how appealing it is, how deep it is, rather than just raw performance.
Right. So that takes me to our next sub-narrative, where, like you mentioned earlier, about playing in a kitchen, and we have been. Sorry, this one is actually. That is our last story. This particularly focuses on a very different aspect of, let's say, the whole party culture, which is bit, let's say, on the hedonistic side, a little bit on the let yourself free, I'm not going to give a damn about anything kind of a mindset. But what we observe is we see a lot of run clubs doing raves. We see a lot of, let's say, quote unquote productive or let's say good for you habits or associations that are coming up with the rave culture, be it like early morning raves or be it sober raves or run and rave, like I mentioned earlier. So, I mean, what do you think is like might have inspired this sort of a shift, and why, like, do you think it's some sort of a rebellious response to like the nightclub space, or let's say the night owl, let's say connotation that a traditional setting may have?
So honestly, like let's say these morning raves or anything to do with that morning segment is almost like a reimagination of what the night culture might look like in the daytime. You get what I mean? So we're basically taking inspiration, like out of these nightclubs where people actually do have a fun time, and then we're kind of also breaking the concept where like music does not have to only stick to nightclubs. It can be a part of almost anything. So that's the whole notion with this one. And honestly, I feel that it's more like it is a reimagination. I wouldn't say that they're going like toe to toe with the nightlife, not at all. So it's basically like what it's like in what we're reimagining what a nightlife looks like or like a nightclub looks like, and then we're trying to bring that concept to other fraternities or like other activities out there.
Right. And go on.
So it's basically like an alternative, I would say. It's not like an actual nightclub, but an alternative for the nightlife club culture and also how the nightclub is looked upon.
Right. And how do you think the audience differs in this case, or let's say what's the consumer mindset in this case?
You're saying like in the morning it is?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're very sober. That's the only difference. In the nightlife, everybody is lost. They're really on their mind, man. But at least when you come to a morning rave, the morning, I know you got to finish your rave and again go back to your office or wherever you have to be. So I'm pretty sure people do turn up sober. And also it's a breeding ground for actually networking with potential people.
Interesting.
Because people are like 100% right there, you know what I mean? Nobody's drunk or nobody's high on any substance. People are right there at that moment. So they're going to sit and look for opportunities where they can connect with people. So it's like a really good space where people can actually come, they're dancing, they're having a good time, they're moving here and there, they have like good food and all that stuff. And also they get to connect with people and see what is the other person up to.
Interesting.
So I feel like the morning rave and all of this good stuff, like I said, it's a reimagination, it's an alternative. But more than that, it's like they get to connect with more people, new people. Innovative people, like you will find like all sorts of people coming in, you know what I mean? And also, man, it kind of contributes to your health as well, finishing a run and then coming for the rave. There's nothing like it.
Right. Yeah, the runners high might also be helping. It's a more sober version, I'm guessing. Moving to our next sub-narrative, which is a bit of a callback to you mentioning how you played in the kitchen. And what we see is this is happening all over, where we see coffee shops, we see kitchens, we see a lot of curated spaces that are designated for food, that have incorporated music or rather embraced music as a much more intimate part of the sensorial experience. Where it's not just any random song playing in the background while you're munching, but I feel it's a bit more thoughtful. Like, how do you personally see food and music as like a combined sensorial experience happening in India?
Honestly, it is taking a shift, man. I mean, like, never in my wildest dreams that I thought like 5 years back that music and food is going to go like hand to hand. It is something extremely new, extremely surprising. I never knew, like, nobody forecasted this, like, where, like, DJ, music, and all of that good stuff can actually go well with food. And if you're just talking about food, again, like, we're looking at another sober space where it's just going to be food. People just coming in for the music and for good lunch or dinner or like a breakfast scene. So I feel it is a good thing. It is taking a shift. I mean, it is something new because we don't have much data on this where you can be like, this is actually going to take you somewhere. I feel that this is just a trend And I hope that this doesn't dissolve in the future. It kind of just continues and kind of improvises itself to become like a bigger entity than just like, food and music. But I really can't give you like a proper debrief on what exactly is going on with this trend because it's just come into the market. So I feel that we have to kind of let it flow and see how it's taking shape. So yeah, that's the
Right.
thing about like how food and music go hand in hand.
Right. What has your observation in terms of consumer behavior and dwell time been?
I mean, like, it does definitely, man. Music does 100% influence your customer behavior or his buying behavior or anything of that sort. For example, let's say in a cafe, if the cafe is like, it's going to like, it's in a more of a jazzy state where the music is really like classical, a lot of jazz influence. You see the clients over there, it's always like a high-end client that walks in. And people kind of do tend to spend more if you actually didn't notice. For example, let's say, so I used to work in this property when I was like, working as a resident DJ, and they used to have like jazz nights, alright? And like almost all the nights were pretty much dead, okay? There's like nothing much used to happen, like even I'm saying on Saturdays. But you see, like just on Thursdays where they have like a jazz band going on, a crowd comes in. I don't know from where they flock in, but the place completely packs up. And it's a and the kind of crowd that kind of comes in. It's a spending crowd. It's not like some crowd they just want to come enjoy music and go. It's like
Right.
it's a creme of the creme that comes in. And I feel that yeah, man, like the kind of music which is curated in a spot really influences the kind of crowd that walks in, the kind of people that come in, and how just the atmosphere is. For example, let's say if there is like a space, like let's say there's a coffee shop, and imagine there's no music going on out there. It's going to be cold, you know what I mean? It's just not going to feel, it's not going to feel warm. It's not going to be like, what's the space where I want to be. It's just going to like be really cold, really dull. And I feel
Right.
that music makes a bit, but curating the right mix or like the right playlist for the specific space or the spot makes a hell lot of difference. And I've seen that only like in the past few months I've noticed it, and that's made like a huge difference of how people like really curate a specific sound or a specific style of music to a certain place or a certain spot.
Interesting. Interesting. So, in terms of, let's say, the fashion that you observe or the
Yeah,
lifestyle that you observe,
yeah,
this is a map that we came up with based on the narratives that we saw and the
yeah,
narratives we observed.
yeah,
But apart from these or adding on to these, what has
yeah.
your observation been in terms of, let's say, the fashion in these spaces or the lifestyle products in these spaces? Or the services or auxiliary services that are
Yeah.
developing in these spaces.
I mean, honestly, I feel that music and fashion and lifestyle always is in this. It's always joined forces. It's always gone hand to hand. Like, but in the recent days, it's just gotten more intense. You know what I mean? I feel that right now, even your music genre, like let's say if you like techno, if you like house and all that fun stuff, you see people kind of stick to that minimalistic outfits. Like you see, they come in black or it's super minimalistic. It's not that flashy like how this hip hop streetwear kind of drip that doesn't go along with like house techno. And I feel that Andre really plays a big part, like how it kind of changes the market forces, at least when it comes to like your the way you dress, your designers, and all of that stuff. It makes a hell lot of difference, especially like you see with this hip hop culture.
Right?
I mean, like, I feel even artists they make a huge difference. Just not the music. I mean, like, let's say if I like Da Baby, okay, I kind of love the way how he dresses, just the way he is, his lifestyle, his accent, everything kind of just makes a change. It makes a personal impact on me, and I want to be this person. I want to feel like this person, and it's just not him. There's like a million other artists out there, a million other styles of music, genres of music, which is like completely just changing the market forces when it comes to like trends and clothing and all of that fun stuff. And I feel yeah, man, especially like post COVID, I would say that music is making like a mad change like when it comes to clothing and whatnot, man. Clothing, let's say lifestyle, just the way you speak, your accent, everything is like making a change. Everything is having an impact on it, you know. I
Right.
think, yeah, man, music is like an important factor which really dictates these forces, you know.
Right, right. So, before we come to the end of today's webinar,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one last question. The fear of being a bit repetitive, but what do you believe, besides all of this, would be the potential, let's say, next step or an evolution in music, or what do you predict would come next?
Honestly, man, it's a really hard question to like answer because I tell you what, the world is taking directions. I can't just stick to like one thing. I mean, like today, there's nothing called sticking to an genre. Everybody's genre fluid. Nobody's like really
Right.
sticking to an genre and then just playing that sound. And
Right.
or even the way you experience things, it's just completely all around the board. And
Right.
I can't like give you like one straightforward answer where I'll be like, you know, the world is moving towards this direction. I just can't like give you an answer. But I would say that, you know what, AI is taking over.
Okay, interesting.
Sure,
Interesting.
that's for sure. I feel like DJs like me might lose our jobs in the future. So all that. So there is a possibility in that. But otherwise, I really can't give you like I can't give you a direction where the world is heading towards. But AI is taking over where it's like a lot more is like let's say with live performance, like where how artists come they perform in time. It's kind of coming in terms with AI where they use the help of AI to enhance their performance. So that's one direction where the world's heading towards, which is AI. But otherwise, I mean, like I don't know, man. The spectrum is just too broad for me to even like just come down to like one single point. You know,
Right, right.
that's the
I
thing.
can empathize.
You know, it is difficult, man. Because like maybe if there's like a few trends what I can catch on to and probably make a prediction, then I'm game for it. But the world is just all over the spectrum. They're just going everywhere they can find. So like I mean like it is a surprise, which is a nice thing, you know what I mean? You don't know what the future's got in store for you. So I'm just gonna wait and see how it is going to be like, you know.
Interesting. So it was lovely speaking with you, Karun. Thank you so much for your time. That brings us to the end of today's webinar. If anyone wishes to connect with VisionNxt, if you wish to work on a trend bite, on something that you spot which is very interesting, which is up and coming, or if you know an artist, or if you would like to cover anything, contribute to our magazine, any of that sort, please get in touch with us. We are a very collaborative, collaboration-friendly team, and we hope you found today's webinar to be of use. We hope you got some takeaways, and we hope this was a good use of your time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you once again, Karun.
Yes, perfect. And thank you so much for having me on board and hosting me. It was beautiful, like, you know, sharing my thoughts with y'all. And yeah, man, looking forward as well.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
Close
thank
the
you so
session.
much.